What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today I have an extra pretty gun for us to take a look at. It is the CZ Tactical Sport Orange. Right off the bat, aesthetically, it's an absolute beautiful gun. 10 out of 10 aesthetically. This thing shoots amazing and it's 100% ready to go shoot a competition out of the box. There's nothing you need to do to it. You could buy this gun at the gun store, an hour later go compete and win a competition, assuming you have the skills to do so. Before we get into it, the only person I need to thank is my friend R Tizzle for Shizzle. She is the gangster who also let me borrow the Maxim Defense PDX that I reviewed. This is also her firearm. She let me borrow it for a review. I probably won't give this one back to her, but I just wanted to say thank you to her because it's extremely nice. All right, let's get right into it without any further ado. Magazines, like all CZ75 variants, are very, very high quality. They're metal mags. These particular ones hold 20+1, and then there's a ton of aftermarket support if you want to get more rounds in the magazine. There's plenty of base pad extensions. One thing that's different about these magazines is these only work in the TSO, Tactical Sport Orange, and I believe they work in the Czechmate. They do not work in other CZ75 variants. Just so you know. It's also available in a 9 and a 40, which is good for the competition world. This one is a 9 because 9 is better. The Magwell is excellent. I'm not going to have many cons, just so you know. Today is very, very few cons. Magwell is excellent. Not only is it metal, it's huge, it's very easy to get those magazines in, and there's nothing for the magazine to get caught up on. There's no lips, there's no ledges, there's no nothing. Everything is very smooth transitioning from the Magwell to the frame of the gun. So A++ when it comes to the Magwell. Another thing that is different with this CZ75 variant is the trigger guard is much smaller, a lot more slim than other CZ75s, and that's one of the many things for me that adds to like the ergonomics and the feel and just the way everything works together. It's just sensational. The biggest part of the ergonomics is going to be the grip. I've never felt any CZ, definitely not a CZ75, that I felt the grip and didn't think, did they build this pistol around my hands? Is it custom fit for my hands? Because they all just feel that good. The side grips, as you see, are very bright orange. Beautiful. I love the way they look. It has a solid beaver tail here on the back to help you make sure you absorb the little bit of recoil you get from 9mm. The grips can be replaced if you're weird and you don't like the orange grips. Don't do it, but you can. And then the front and the back strap has very aggressive texturing, again, to make sure you keep a solid grip on this gun and make sure you can shoot it as fast as you possibly can in those competitions. Mag release, I'm also going to say, is an A+++. It is very large, oversized like you would want in a competition gun. It's very easy to reach. It's not out of the way at all. The shape, the size, the texture on it, everything about it is great. It easily drops the magazines freely, which again in competitions that is very, very good. And the one thing I like more than anything else, it's in a position where I didn't accidentally bump it. Again, it's a big magazine release, and whether I'm gripping the gun one-handed or two-handed, it's in a location where I never accidentally press that magazine release. Now the trigger. Oh my lord, the trigger is like an out-of-body religious experience. It is a polymer trigger, which I found kind of strange. It's mostly flat and at the end has a curved kind of shoe to it, and it's absolutely wonderful. On my scale, it pulled around 1 pound, even a little less than 1 pound. That means in reality, it's probably 1.5 to 2 pounds. My trigger gauge always pulls way under what it is, but let's call it around 1.5 pounds. And once you have to get used to this trigger because it is so short and the reset's so short. But once you get used to it, be careful going back to a normal crappy Glock trigger or something. But the reset's very short. The break is very, very short. So make sure you practice a lot before you start shooting this gun. But as far as the take-up, there's probably 1 millimeter of take-up. You come to a very, very solid wall. It takes no effort. I mean no effort to push through that wall. Like I said, it's probably around 1.5 pounds. And then your reset, it's probably 5 millimeters or so. I don't know, but it's short. It's not overly tactile and audible. Like the reset doesn't punch the trigger back out. It's a little more passive, I guess I'll call it, which is good for you CZ hipsters. Totally kidding. A+ on the trigger. I can't say anything bad about it. I was easily getting hits on steel at all different sizes and all different distances. The trigger is probably one of the best things about this gun. About the rail now. You have a full length dust cover, as you can see here. There is no rail on it. I don't know why I called it a rail, because there's no rail there. Nobody in their right mind is going to carry this gun, especially with that 1.5 2-pound trigger. I don't think anyone's going to use this for home defense with a 1.5 2-pound trigger also. So I don't care that it does not have a rail. This is 100% once again a competition gun, and having a big heavy full length dust cover on here and get a little more weight out front, eat up some of that recoil, is a good thing for me. Another nice thing that I love and matched up with my hands perfect is the thumb rest on the other side of the gun here. Now, if you have really big or really small hands, or your grip doesn't allow you to line up with this thumb rest, you can easily take it off. But my grip, it was absolutely perfect, and that's what I mean when I say I think CZ make grip for my hands. I guess I'm kind of an average person, and my thumb lined up with that thumb rest perfectly, and it just helps, again, the weight out front, the aggressive grip, that thumb rest. It helps you lean into the gun a little more, help keep that muzzle rise down, and be able to shoot a little bit faster in those follow-up shots, get your sights back on target for those follow-up shots, what I was absolutely able to do. Slide release is jammed here in the middle of the safety and on the thumb rest that I just told you about, and the slide release slide stop works fine if you choose to use it as a slide release. It's a good shape. It sends the slide home very, very easily. The problem is you have a fairly large safety, and like most CZ75s, you're probably not going to be reaching that slide release. There's very few CZ75 variants that I can reach that slide release. So what I did, and what most people do, again, assuming you try to use it as a slide release, is you put that magazine in, you use your thumb on your support hand to send the slide forward, and it probably slowed me down 1/10 of a second or something. I don't know, not very much. Speaking of the safety is ambi. Technically, it's on both sides of the gun. On the left, again, it's a full size, very tactile, audible safety in a good spot. Down, red is dead, up is safe. On the other side of the gun, it's very, very small safety. And I don't know if this is more of a competition thing, because I don't shoot a lot of competitions. This way, the safety officer there with you will know if the gun's unsafe or not. I don't know if that's why it's there, or if it's just small, because you're probably not shooting off-handed in many competitions. I don't know, but that's the way it is set up. If you folks who shoot more competitions know a specific reason, please drop it in the comments. Educate your homie and let me know. The slide, there's a lot of things going on with these slides. All CZ75 variants, the slides are very, very small. There's not a lot of mass coming back and forth. The rails on the slide actually ride inside of the frame, and for those reasons and several other, the gun does not have a lot of felt recoil. It's just a really sweet, soft shooting gun. But because the slide is so small, it's not huge like a P320, there's not as much of it to get your hands on, to get a grip. So if you're running the slide, or if you're doing press checks or whatever, the slide is significantly smaller. So keep that in mind with the slide release. If you don't use a slide release, if you manipulate the gun using the actual slide, there's not as much real estate to grab onto on this particular, really on all CZ75s. The one thing I will say about the serrations on this particular one is the serrations are much more aggressive than other CZ75 variants I have felt. Some of them are pretty rough. I wish these front serrations were further out front. They're kind of mid serrations and rear serrations. I don't use front serrations that much, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I do wish they were pushed out a little bit further. But with that said, these serrations are definitely a little more aggressive than other CZ75 variants. Another thing that CZ did a great job with are the sights. These sights are metal sights. The front is a very bright red fiber optic, and for me, in my eyes, I always pick up red fiber optics extremely well. The rear sight is excellent as well. The rear is all blacked out and has some serrations, so you don't help cut down on a little bit of glare. Now CZ says it is adjustable for windage and elevation. There is a dial here on the top that will allow you to adjust the elevation. As far as your windage, you do need to knock the sight left or right in the dovetail if you want to adjust it for that. So that's probably a small knock on it for how expensive the gun is. But overall, the sights are fantastic. Another small knock I have is going to be the optics plate, the optics system. Now, please keep in mind, all you competition guys and girls out there, I am not a big competition shooter. That's just not my jam. I am more of a defensive, self-defense, go into the range type of shooter. But I think, in my opinion, every single gun that's not a super budget-friendly gun should have an optics system, a way to mount an optic right out of the box. And being this gun is north of $2,000, this should definitely have something where you can add an optic the way it comes out of the box. But again, that's just my opinion. What you can get is a optics plate for this. It screws in where the thumb rest is and allows you to mount an optic on top of the pistol. The good thing about it is when the slide moves back and forth, that optic is not moving back and forth with the slide, so it should be easier to track for you competition folks. That style obviously is very, very popular in competitions where the red dot is just sitting on top of the slide and you can go to town and shoot the gun nice and fast. Next, let's talk about the dimensions. Couple things I want to call out here. One is going to be the weight. It is a big, heavy gun. You're probably not going to appendix carry this guy all day, but that is one of the things that makes it shoot so nicely. That extra weight eats up a lot of that recoil, really helps you keep the front sight on target, and those follow-up shots are definitely much faster. MSRP, again, it's around $2,000. I'm not going to quote street price right now. Here in 2021, again, pricing is all over the place. Most guns are going for more than MSRP instead of less. So I'm not going to quote street price right now, not until prices get back down to normal. I'm also not going to field strip this gun. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do it already. It is very, very easy. All CZ75s are very, very similar. I'm not going to do it because every time I do that in a video, YouTube seems to demonetize my video and not show it to as many people. So I'm going to see if this helps. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But they are very, very easy to field strip. It's not overly difficult. All right. I also want to do my quick disclosure before we get into the testing that I had done on this pistol. I don't have any connection to CZ in any way, shape, or form. I have met the vice president of sales a few times, but I doubt he remembers who I am. Again, this came from a local buddy of mine. She is known as the Gangsta. She has great taste in firearms, and she is nice enough to let me borrow this for a few weeks. I will put several affiliate links down in the video description. Hopefully, if you're looking to pick one of these up, maybe I can get you a good deal, which is not easy to do right now. Maybe I can at least find one in stock for you, so check the links in the video description. Last, but certainly not least, the sponsor of today's video is USCCA. USCCA offers self-defense training, self-defense education, and self-defense insurance. If you want to learn more, click the link, type in your email address, and see if USCCA is right for you. Now, what you're all here to learn and to hear about is the testing and the shooting that I did with this firearm. Now, this is a competition gun. I've said it a dozen times already. So we did a lot of competition style shooting. First magazine, loaded it up, plinking on some steel. Because a buddy of mine, this is his first time coming, new gun owner, first time coming to an outdoor range, I broke out a lot of extra steel. I broke out the dueling tree, plate rack. I mean, we went to town. We had a lot of steel to shoot, and we made the best of it with this gun because she likes to go fast. Again, started off plinking, just transitioned from steel target to steel target, getting used to the gun and how it feels, how it shoots, picking up the sight. Did a lot of the dueling tree. I don't break out the dueling tree too often because it's kind of a pain, but now that it was out there, of course I had to sling that steel plates back and forth a little bit. Then we got into moving. We did a ton, like if you look at this video, we did a ton of shooting and moving, moving and shooting, all those type of things. I did a lot of vertical moving. I did a lot of horizontal moving. I did a lot of running, stopping at a stationary barrel, shooting the certain amount of the target a certain amount of times, running to the next barrel. All those kind of mock competition things. Unfortunately, this range I'm at don't have many barricades and walls. That's the other range. But I made the best with what I had. And I shot it a lot. I shot several hundred rounds in just one day. My buddy also shot a couple hundred rounds through it as well. And again, it's a combination of the weight, the trigger, the grip, the slide. There's so many things that CZ does with these CZ75s, especially a pimped out one here like the TSO, that it just shoots phenomenal. It shoots sensational. It's just a very, very easy gun to shoot. It's kind of like cheating is what I usually say. So that's going to be my first pro. The way the gun shoots, it is just sensational. It shoots great. The feel of a CZ75, the grip, is so much more ergonomic than most other guns out there. The trigger's great, mag release is great, Magwell's great, thumb rest I love. A lot of good things that I could talk about. There's not many features on here I don't like. As far as cons, I do have a couple cons, couple things I'd like to see different. I'd like it to be optics ready right out of the box. I think every gun should be, especially if it's $2,000 or so. I'm not going to put the slide release on there. I thought about making that a con because I do like to use that slide release with my thumb, which can't be done with this gun or most CZ75. There's only a couple variants that I can reach it. But I'm not going to put it on there because it has a safety for competition, and putting that magazine in and using my thumb didn't really slow me down. So the only con I think I really have is going to be the optics system. Maybe the rear sight is not truly adjustable for windage. You have to knock it back and forth in the dovetail. Again, a $2,000 gun, it'd be nice to have just a flathead screwdriver to adjust the windage and elevation, but I guess that's a pretty nitpicky thing. Overall, I think you got the point by now. A++. One of the nicer guns on the market under around the $2,000 price range. If you're looking for something for competitions, definitely, and you can afford the $2,000 price tag, definitely consider it. Definitely put it on your list. Try to get it in your hands and shoot it if possible. I know these aren't quite as common as a Glock 19. It might be a little hard to find one, but if you can, the combination of the grip and the weight and everything else I've mentioned a few times, it shoots like an absolute dream. All right, I'm done talking about this gun, but don't go. I have a few more things before you leave. I need to thank my friend one more time. She is the gangster. She let me borrow this gun, which was very, very nice of her. I want to thank the sponsor of today's video. Again, that's USCCA. Click the link, type in your email if you want to find out more about USCCA. These are the other companies who support me with affiliate links. The link or the discount code or whatever is down in the video description. My Patreon supporters are wonderful, huge help to this channel. The link is down in the video description, and pretty much all that money goes into buying ammo for guns like this so I can do reviews. Last but certainly not least, let me thank you boys and girls for watching, because when I say it is truly, truly appreciated, I mean it. It is truly, truly appreciated. Every time you like a video, comment, subscribe, enable the bell notifications, share a video. Anytime you guys do any of that stuff, it truly helps me out, and I appreciate it. I will see you guys next time. Peace!